Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be in the vastness of the cosmos and space, wherever it is in this now, never-ending, never-beginning now moment. I'm Rocken Larry Locken with Pleiadian Express Productions. Right now on the show, we have a very special guest, somebody that I've admired for a long time and I really enjoy listening to. Leia Weisser Ibis, a.k.a. Leia Jata. I hope I'm pronouncing that right and didn't butcher her name too much. Is an ambassador from the mothership, the White Ebis, and we're going to talk a little bit about the White Ebis today and just wherever the consciousness lets us flow, as I'm in pure consciousness mode right now, thank God, because if not, I would be nervous as all get out. But Leia, welcome. How are you?
I'm great, thank you, Larry, and it's such a pleasure and such an honor to us that you have us on your show tonight.
Well, the honor and the pleasure is definitely all mine, and I can't wait to hear where your mind's going to take us. I can't wait. I'm just excited. And I was wondering maybe if you could start off talking a little bit about the White Ebis. For listeners out there that are not familiar with the White Ebis, I'd like you to talk a little bit about that, and then we can just let it go from there and see where it flows.
Sure. And yes, I didn't prepare for this show, but the last hours, many things came through. And yes, I really would love to talk about the White Ebis lightship system and introduce it a bit to you, as it is a very special energy field. And I guess I myself as a person am not that important. I am just Leia, to pronounce it correct, Leia Jata. But what are words? What are sounds? And so again, it's a great pleasure, and it's really an honor to be with you tonight. And thank you all for your listening and for your patience. Now, many greetings from the lightship system, the White Ebis. And if you don't mind, please look around, and if you see a piece of paper and a pen, fetch it, because I feel that you might
Leia, can you hear me? We had a technical difficulty, and I got booted completely off the air. I'm glad that the room is still up. I'm sorry, Leia. I apologize for that technical difficulty. The last thing I heard was telling everybody to get a pen and a piece of paper. Okay, everybody in the room needs to completely mute their microphones except for Leia and myself. Everybody needs to mute their microphone. Okay, Leia, I've still got you on mute for some reason. I don't know why that is. Okay. Leia, if you're there, can you hear me? And I don't know if you were the one that muted your microphone or not, but can you check and see if it's muted on your end?
Yes, I can
There
hear
you
you
are.
very
Good.
well, Larry, and my microphone is on, definitely.
Great. Okay.
Now, what do I have to...
Well, I guess that was
you instruct me, please.
You are fine. You are fine now. We had a technical difficulty. I got booted off, and then it said that somebody had muted you, but you're unmuted now. And so we wish the Cabal much love and all these negative energies that are, you know, trying to disrupt the broadcast. But we will not be held back. We're going to keep going. And I thank you so much, Leia, for your patience and understanding. And yeah, let's just go ahead and let it roll from here.
Absolutely, and thank you all for your patience and even for the questions.
Oh boy!
As I told them, we really do love you, dearest enemies from the dark side, or however you. We truly and honestly love you, because without you, the phenomenon and the experience of duality wouldn't have been possible. So thank you for doing that job. But but there is a big but. At least energy field of the White Ebis, this duality comes to an end. And dearest Cabal friends and partners, you just might listen a bit longer here and yes, get some of our loving energy waves, and maybe you enjoy it. We won't tell your boss. Now, again, I'd like to tell you all a bit about the White Ebis energy field. And again, I'd love to repeat that our favorite human word is freedom, and that our most given recommendation is follow your highest joy. And I cannot resist. Dearest Cabals, are you really sure that you're following your highest joy just in this moment? I doubt. But yes, stay with us tonight. The White Ebis energy field is pretty new on the surface of your planet. And because we come far away from your so-called future, of course, seen from time. And yes, furthermore, we recommend all of you to get more familiar with the phenomenon of time and space, and we're going to deepen this issue during this show. Now, the White Ebis has many levels, of course it has, and it always depends on your personal frequency and your personal evolution, what you perceive and what you perceive not. We refer to Jacob's ladder. Jacob's ladder means a type of density scale from 0 up to 1,000. No measure is needed. To give you some parameters, let's assume you would read the paper, watch TV, and pay your taxes regularly. Let's assume, furthermore, you would say, yes, there are things between heaven and earth, of course. And with this, you would be found at about 200 at the scale Jacob's ladder. Naturally, you would perceive only corresponding things. In other words, realities of other levels or frequencies or densities are invisible to you. We explained this in detail within our last radio show from August 4. You can find it on YouTube. Now, the lowest possible frequency for the White Ebis energy field is at 1,000, which means it starts at 1,000. And this is why we always encourage you to do the leap and meet us at least halfway. Particularly within human bodies, as walk-ins, we lower our frequency as far as possible to give you the opportunity to perceive us. But to be honest, often this is really exhausting. And yes, we feel like the principal actor of the movie Powder, which you might know. We are aware that many of you are yearning to meet their true galactic family. And yes, folks, you have to know one thing. The path home did not change over the last 13,000 years. And despite many voices who were trying to tell you that nowadays everything is wonderful and in harmony and all is one, and that there is no more to do for you, and that almost everybody on your planet is going to get awakened soon, we are telling you the path is, was, and will always be, easy or not. It depends on your personal development at this amazing school called Duality on Earth. Same with our light ships. You have to know that it really doesn't make much to see UFOs or even ETs. But what would you perceive? Think of Jacob's ladder. With what would your perception correspond? Apart the fact that only 3% of what people call UFOs are extraterrestrial, 97% are military devices. Our ships are conscious beings. Our way to move through time and space is much different from what many people on Earth still think. We travel by using our will and our consciousness and our knowledge of dealing with space-time continuum and wormholes. We explained how you can use wormholes within the show from August 4. So our light ships and our pilots connect their brains and their intentions and move by a special kind of energetic agreement, which has very much to do with our ability to love unconditionally, a frequency far beyond 1,000. Now, beloved family out there, we remind you, true science must connect with spirituality. Human mind is able to reach 500 at maximum on the scale of Jacob's ladder. To do high science, you again have to do a leap to cross the threshold of matrix restriction. The White Ebis energy field is supporting the first ascension wave on surface of planet Earth. Beloved brothers and sisters, and at the same time our so admired ancestors, we're deeply touched by your open and loving hearts, the warm and close feeling of relationship, and of your amazing human ability to develop from hell to heaven. You do climb Jacob's ladder, and you cannot imagine what this really means, not only on Earth, but for the whole universe. Know that most of you already ascended to higher levels and dimensions, as you love to name it. But also most of you are still sticking a bit within old matrix patterns of behavior and perception. This means you see and you see not. Right at this moment, 3% of humanity is truly awakened. You decide if this is good news or bad news. We'd like to remind you to the laser beam, which works with most amazing effects and only 3% of its potential. And now, imagine 100%. Wow! The White Ebis energy field means this most powerful truth you certainly have heard of. It is about the energy of the knowing child of the fairy tale, the Emperor's New Clothes. And this has a lot to do with reaching the 100%. So open up your ears and your hearts. You remember the fairy tale? The emperor went off in procession. He was in fact naked. But none of his servants and subjects would confess that he or she couldn't see any clothes on him. Only this particular child dared to speak the truth. But he hasn't got anything on. Dear brothers and sisters, this energy of honesty, courage, and truth is the most powerful frequency in the world. Become like the children. We call the power of the knowing child the white light, and within the White Ebis energy field it is connected with our central sun and the Ark of the Covenant, which means currently the highest possible frequency on Earth. The frequency that you feel as light is in fact a gigantic power and still in the lowest frequency on your planet's surface, known as ultra matter. Again, imagine 100%. At the same time, this energy means purest healing power. And furthermore, it assists with a frequency, as we call it, humans would or death. Another amazing duty we are allowed to do on planet Earth with the White Ebis power, which we try to explain with the power of the knowing child, is to put light anchors on your planet. As we told you, the vibration that you perceive with human eyes as light is a tremendous force. Look at the effect of lightning when two opposite poles meet. While interacting consciously with a White Ebis light, this particular power is to flood our physical body system, and we forward it to parts and places on Earth who asked for it. It is a bit like beaming in Star Trek. For less than a second, your eyes would not notice it. The molecular body structure dissolves, the light passes through, and the molecules reassemble again. This way, and also with the help of our multi-dimensional perception, our ground crew reaches the level of our light ships and higher realms. You have to combine this with your personal knowing child energy as supreme, all-pervading heart power. If your cell system is physically able to stand and to bear this highest frequency, you will be catapulted into high ethereal levels, literally, while having your human feet on the ground. This power is also known as the Holy Grail, by the way. Since ancient times, multidimensional consciousness and comprehensive awareness of being safe, healing, and pure, clear will are the results. Also, androgyne beings, in accordance with highest compassion and other things human speech would not have words for. So every light anchor we put has an effect on both sides, the place where it is sent and your body system. Now, coming in contact with White Ebis energy field means you're going to overcome the three big matrix illusions of death, needing food to survive, and needing physical sexuality to bring children into your world. We explain these phenomena of light, food, and being androgyne in another show. So go on YouTube and you'll find it. Within the White Ebis energy field, the time of master and disciple is over. Definitely. What you have to know and to do now is stand up and go. Stop the talk, walk the walk. And be sure, in your year 2014, you own everything you need. And then follow your highest joy. Maybe you have still to find out what this really means to you, but you can absolutely be sure. Follow your highest joy and everything, really everything is done. In ancient Egypt mythology, death guardians would weigh people's hearts at the entrance to heaven. If it was not light enough, you had to go back to find your highest joy. So don't worry, be happy. Be Like a Child is about honesty, unconditional love, and morals. And it is about taking back all projections. Like German author Friedrich Nietzsche said, as long as you consider the stars as something above you, you will lack the eye of knowledge. So you cannot say, I am, or all is one, and at the same time project a God or something else into your outside. At least you have to understand that this would be your personal projection. Now, by the way, the question why we never pray should be answered too. Dear family, of course, you all know crop circles. Some of them are extraterrestrial origin, some are made together by high Earth and ET consciousness as a co-creation. And as Earth is revolving, be aware that they're spinning around. These crop circles are telling humanity an ongoing story. The 2000 chill bottom circle on a T-face and a disk message in it had a binary code message which was decoded by humans as follows. Beware of the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but still time. There is good out there. We oppose deception. We'd like to add that the word good is written with 2 O's. Beloved family, during these confusing times of only 3% truth on your planet, you have one inner guide which would never ever fail. It is your heart, of course. What else? Even your scientists found out that heart energy is at least 5,000 times stronger than human mind. Reminder, human minds ends at 500 on Jacob's ladder. And energy fields like ours start at 1,000. With the tremendous power of your heart, you will make the leap, be sure. Some of you noticed that your human word fear, F-E-A-R, has 2 meanings. The first would be forget everything and run. And the second would be face everything and rise. How we love this. How we love this. No feelings, but not emotions. Be sure that we are so admiring you because of your brilliant ability to change things from negative to positive. As your galactic family, we are helping at the control desks on board our ships, supporting humanity with our technical possibilities. Apart other things, the White Ebis lightship system is eliminating unmanned chemtrail airplanes, cleaning up military zones like Area 51 in the USA or Ramstein in Germany. We make sure that humanity would survive, but we would not do your job. So we won't intervene, as many of you wish. And day after day, you are showing us that you do not need us to clean your kitchen. Of course, you do not need us, but you and you and you and you and you and you have to stand up and go. Every day you are showing us that it is not necessary to intervene and that you are going through personal and collective learning steps. We so love you for that. Another reminder: before you can create world peace or meet us physically, you have to have fully translated again the female knowledge frequencies into action. The female principle is life-giving, life-maintaining, and life-supporting, everywhere and always. For instance, implosion propulsion is a female principle. Seeing a problem and knowing the solution at the same time is the female principle. We know that you are still used to an artificial time delay at your schools and universities. Furthermore, the entire animal kingdom belongs to the female principle. We dedicated the latest radio show on ET First Contact Radio to that issue. Humanity is still used to follow the male principle. How many female leaders do you have on Earth? How many female role models within esoteric and spiritual circles, within the UFO scenery and everywhere? Get us right, beloved ones. Dear brothers on Earth, of course, we do not judge, but we need your manliness. Use it to touch those men of old energy with your love. You as men within a patriarchal matrix system can do what so many of your sisters and daughters still are not able or allowed to. Look around. Dearest ones, brothers, and of course sisters, give your love, your compassion, and your to harmonize Earth. You now have the power to stand up for those who cannot. And feed the morphogenetic fields. Send your light to all still oppressed beings, particularly women, children, weep, and animals, and be absolutely sure it will have an effect. What you do to one, you do to all. I am the O. I am the M. I am the way there, and I am the way back. I am lightful light. Created you, and you created me. Pele, Isis, Gaia, Maria. I am all lightful names you would give me. Aan David Odrag. Beloved Starseed family, it is high time to take all of your powers back. Up to now, we, your galactic family, are often worshipped as gods or angels. As we already mentioned, To us, there is no outside. Look into a mirror and love what you perceive. And don't blame the mirror if you don't like what you see. So if we appear to you, you might notice our bright shape generated by the particular material of our suits and our higher energy radiation. So if you or your children are about to see some angels next days, it is just us. You have to find out which appearances are sending the true frequency of pure love. If ancient or religious figures from your past or beings and role models of today. Recognize who is really amplifying positive and life-supporting energies. Keep in mind that all negative forces are powerless in heart energy. The positive form of power is joy. So, whenever possible, erase negative thoughts, images, and feelings. Focus on high-frequent issues, trust yourself, and follow your highest joy. And as Sister Teresa told you, don't wait for leaders. Do it alone, person to person. Now, to many of you, at an advanced and enlarged station, your so-called reality seems to move faster, as if time would accelerate. In fact, it is just an increase in your frequency and energy level. You are the ones who speed up. To say it with Albert Einstein's words, the faster you move, the more you would expand and slow down time. Now, this is the interdimensional or multidimensional quality of both physics and spirituality. Time depends on speed. The structure of atoms is interdimensional or multidimensional. So, in fact, you don't need telescope everything about the cosmos. This is intuition. When you walk on your linear timeline from past into future, what will really happen? The line, which is in fact no line, forms a circle, and you face your past. This very simple imagination may illustrate why we always say your future determines your past. So, again, we are your descendants and independent of time and space. We appear humanoid as humans, angels, or ETs, that's all the same. And this little trip on your timeline forming a circle is not quite correct. We'd like to add that the true truth is you're walking on spirals. Did you know that Earth does not revolve around Sun? You know, spiral, not circles, mean life. Your Sun is not the center of the galaxy, but revolves also around the galactic center as other planets do. And the planets revolve in a spiral and independently of your Sun, steered by atomic energy. Check it out. I'm doing a little break of 1 minute as
Okay.
there is coming some in.
Okay, sounds good. I'm just, I'm just in awe. I'm just listening like everybody else is. Um, if anybody happens to have a question or anything like that, they can type it in, and I will try to get that question through to Leia. I wanted to remind everybody and thank everybody for joining, and I really appreciate them being here and showing their support and love. And I'm just in awe, like everybody else, listening and just taking it all in. It's really exciting, and it's really interesting to hear. So I want to thank everybody for being here. And I was listening not too long ago to the show that she did on Martin's show, and yeah, he was just in awe too. And now I can understand why. It's hard to conduct an interview with somebody who consciously sees everything that you could possibly want to ask and describes it already. So I thank everybody for being here and bearing with me as a host, because I'm just in awe like everybody else and really don't know what to ask at this point. So I think that we'll just wait for Leia to get back and to share some more consciousness with us. Okay, if anybody else can hear me that's in the actual room right now, um, does anybody have any thoughts on what she's talked about so far? And keep in mind, I might cut you off if when she comes right back into the room. So if anybody has any quick thoughts that they'd like to say or share, even if it's just to say amazing or cool or whatever, that would be good.
I loved what she had to say so far, and I felt the same way about UFOs, that if it's a conscious being, you will know it, you will feel it, and you will have interaction with it.
Great point, exactly. You won't have any of that apprehension or fear or self-doubt. I agree. I think that we really do need to learn to trust within and trust ourselves, and she's right. I mean, you'll just know it when you know it, and you'll feel that, you'll feel that pure love energy coming through. Yeah, and I just read a comment that Sif had made in the comment section, and I agree. I was kind of thinking the same thing. The Jacob's ladder had to do with our DNA, and then she mentioned the spirals, and I really think that that's a really great point. And I heard somebody else mention that one time before too, and I can't quite remember who, but it sure makes sense to me. So that being said, I wish I had some music to play. I know that on Martin's show he had some music to pipe in and play during the break. I was unprepared, and so if anybody wants to come on and sing, it won't be me. If anybody would like to try out their singing skills and sing while Leia is taking her break, that would be good. Don't be shy. Feel free. Come on. Don't everybody jump at once. So, yeah, huh. The thing about consciousness, though, is it's so all knowing that it can make something like this hard to do. It can make an interview kind of hard to do when you're dealing with somebody of pure consciousness like that, because what are you going to ask and what are you going to say except for, nod and smile and agree with your heart, because that's about all you can do. There's nothing really that, it just throws everything completely out the window 3D wise that I would want to ask her, like where you're from, what is your upbringing, what were your experiences growing up. I mean, the typical mundane thing that you would ask normal people to kind of put in and fill in the time. So, I really wouldn't even know what to ask her, because she would probably answer my question about 3 steps ahead before I could even get it out, one. And two, it really doesn't even really matter, because, well, I mean, it just really doesn't matter, the past, and because it's all one now moment. Caroline from the chat asked why Leia is not queued in right now. It's because she is taking a break right now. She needed to take about a minute to to focus on something and then get back to us. But I will definitely, Caroline, when she gets back in, I will ask her that question. That is a good question, by the way, about what civilization the White Ebis comes from. I think, just from a pure curiosity standpoint, I would like to know whether it is Assyrian, Arcturian, Pleiadian, if it's a combination of galactic forces, if they're from another civilization, another star system that we're not thinking of, or, maybe it really doesn't even matter, but that is a good point. I would like to know, just for my own 3D curiosity standpoint, exactly where it is that they come from. Just to know. I mean, not that it really even matters, but it'd be interesting to find that out.
Well, I emailed her or I sent her a message on Facebook, and I have questions about a contact that I had via my cat and a dog, my old dog, and there was a medium. A man was contacting me, so I have some questions about that.
And so, okay, so are you still waiting to hear back from her on that then?
Uh-huh.
Okay, cool. Okay. Wow. Yeah, it's exciting. Like I said, I was listening to her last interview, and Martin is usually so spot on with his questions and everything, but I really truly got the sense that at that point he was so in awe listening to her that he really didn't even know what to ask or say too. And I was kind of laughing about it at the time, and now I feel like I'm in the same boat with it, and there's really not a lot that I could ask her except for, yeah, I will hit her up with that White Ebis question about where they come from. And then, of course, that'll be good, because her consciousness can flow for a long time. So that question right there alone could probably, buy the show another several minutes at least.
Yeah. I also asked her about hybrids. Are the ET human hybrids, if they were the type of ET that didn't feel emotion, do the hybrid children experience emotion then?
That's a good question. That would be a good question to ask her as well. I know that there was some, on another note, I know that there was some technical problems with her getting into this hangout a little bit, and I'm wondering, because I don't have Facebook open. A lot of times when I have Facebook open and I have one of these hangouts open at the same time, it messes with the flow. So if I posted the link down here in the chat, is there anybody that could send that back to her real quick? Okay, thank you very much. I've got somebody that's willing to do that. keeping in mind that she does have 2 Facebook accounts. One of them is, of course, her name, and here I go. I'm afraid to butcher her name, but let me give it a shot. Leia Weisser Ibis. I don't read German too good, and it looked like for the longest time it was Weaver. That's just my Americanness in me coming through. But and the other one is Leljata. Leia Jata. So she could be reached at either one of those Facebook accounts. So I'm going to try to also invite her back in the room too and see if that's the issue, or maybe she's just getting some consciousness flow coming through her, and it's just going to be a couple more minutes. Yeah, that's a good point. Somebody just brought up on the chat section, somebody just brought up the point that it's really hard to channel for a long period of time. You know, it's really hard to channel, period, for most people. And for a long period of time, it's really extraordinary. I kept wondering if maybe I should pop in with a question, but I just wanted to continue to let her flow as long as it could go. And it was just amazing to go that long. And you know, most people that channel, it isn't that long. When you listen to your typical channelers on YouTube, which a lot of them are good, some of them, you know, you can take what you want from them and use your discernment, but if you notice they're 5-10 minutes long at the most. I think that she went for over 30 minutes there just in a pure flow, so that in itself is amazing to me. Mm-hmm. Okay, so one thing I wanted to bring up too then while she's not in the room is that we were talking, her and I were talking a little bit last night, early this morning, depending on where you're located at, and we were talking about channelers that you hear, and I don't know, she gave me a statistic like maybe 3% of them are completely, really legitimately channeling the divine, so to speak, or all is good, wherever their channels are coming from, whether it's from the archangels, whether it's Sirius, the Pleiades, Arcturus, Procyon, wherever it may be. And I kind of agree with that. There are a lot of channelers out there, though, that you can do, you know, you can take some good information from and discern what you need. Some, you know, a few really good ones that I like are Marianne Rad is really great. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones that I've listened to. I don't listen to as many of them as I used to. I like Melchizedek. I always butcher his name too. I enjoy Melchizedek. I enjoy the channelings that come from him, as well as Anita, Melchizedek. I think that, you know, Barbara Marciniak was somebody that I really enjoyed listening to. Love her books. I think everybody can really resonate in this realm with her material. But you know, most of it, I don't really look at it as good or evil. It's just, it is what it is, and you can take some of it and discern from there. You know, if it doesn't resonate with you, then whatever. If it does, well, cool. And if some of it does, cool. If some of it doesn't, cool. I try not to look at the meaning behind it, like, or an agenda behind it. People get hung up too much on, you know, I've been listening to David Icke for about 20 years, and people will get hung up on thinking, well, is he a disinformation agent or is he a prophet? Well, the truth be told is, like, for me, I really don't care one way or the other. I just like listening to some of his information, and a lot of things that he talked about in the 90s have came true. I heard him allude in 1998. I was listening to him on Coast to Coast, and I heard him allude to the fact of a 9/11 type event happening, and I wish I could find the show. It was with Art Bell. It was about bloodlines and things like that, and reptilians, and, you know, the things he talks about. But he really alluded, And it was the way he put it and the innuendo behind it, and you could really just tell what he meant. And of course, 3 years later, it ended up happening. But you know, you get people that might say, well, he's just an Illuminati plant, and he was just sharing that information to warn us. But it really doesn't matter to me one way or the other. You know, information is information, and you always have to use your own discernment.
Hi, Larry. Leia here again. Larry?
Hi, how are you? Great. Yes, I can. Great. Yeah. Listen, I wanted you to, I know you were getting some information from one question, though, that I wanted to hit you with from the audience. They wanted to know,
Larry, I don't
possible,
know what happened. Yes.
Yes, I don't, well, you know, everything happens, but they
I
wanted to know.
Before? Yeah, okay.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Larry, I'm so sorry. I didn't know what happened. I talked and talked and talked, and somewhen at the end, I realized that something went wrong with a transmission, with a technical transmission. And so I don't know how far you followed me. So would you mind to tell me what I told you? What?
Yes,
yeah?
you had told us that you needed to take a minute break. You needed to take a minute break, right, and just kind of get some more information or whatnot, and then you were gone.
Yeah, interesting, because what then came was so fantastic and so fascinating and so important. And when I came back here and listened to you, what you said, you had exactly the issue that I wanted to talk about. And I find this very, very interesting. And yes, how should we go on? I would need about, yes, a few hours to end my transmission, and I would love to do so, because at the end there might be a little loving surprise to each of you. And it would be fun to me and to you and to all of us.
You've got all the time that you need.
Thank you. And after that, yes, we can talk more, and people may ask questions if they want to. Now, let me try to find the connection again. I will do.
Leia, exactly. Questions later on, but I wanted to throw that one question that was just posed out at us. They wanted to know if it was possible to let everyone know, or if it even mattered, what civilization that the White Ebis ship came from. So you don't have to answer that now, but that was just a question that was posed.
Thank you for that. It gives me the opportunity to clarify one important thing. If I say I am from Sirius B, would exclude that I'm coming from other points of the universe. And that is not how I feel, and that is not how I perceive. So I'd like to be quite correct and tell you, we of the White Ebis energy field entered your universe through the Stargate of Sirius B. In short, of course, you may say we're Syrian. Would that answer your question?
From a 3D standpoint, it may, yes. I kind of figured, but I couldn't articulate. I figured that the answer was probably something like you just gave us, though. that it would box it into a certain area if you were to give just a particular star system. So yeah, I think you answered that question for me, and if the person has any follow-up questions, they can certainly type them in and we can address those later. But yeah, continue on. Go ahead and continue on with your flow. Leia, are you there? Can anyone else hear me in the room?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, you got to love technology. It's certainly a lesson in patience. I don't mind it at all. I think it's great. A couple of years ago, I would have been worried about everybody else, you know, wondering what was going on and getting frustrated and leaving. But I think it's important that we just stick through it and fight through these technical issues we have, because it's a lesson learned, and it's, you know, we're paving the way for the new generation. So let's just stick with it, and hopefully Leia's not having any technical issues. And also, this is a good lesson as to why I need to get some music for the show, like Martin's got. I need to get some filler music, some elevator music or something that I can play during this time. If this were on a major network, if this were coast to coast or one of the corporate controlled shows, they'd really have a fit with all this dead air. But it's almost like, instead of talking, maybe we could just all kind of relax and space out until Leia gets back. I think that's a good idea. could all just space out and meditate on, on the White Ebis. Think about sending that light and love, sending that unconditional love and that unconditional forgiveness of pure truth and pure consciousness to, anybody that may need it, to each other, to family members that may not be as awakened where they should be or need to be. Not that everybody's not on their own path, but that would be a good focus to concentrate on. And we could also focus and concentrate on giving Leia the love and energy to come back to the room. I know that she had mentioned last night when we were talking that the internet connection where she was really shoddy, and it seems like we've been having a lot of funky issues around the world with the internet. I mean, we always are, but I was trying to interview yesterday a friend of mine who's a really good Pleiadian contactee in the UK, Ekmau. Her name is Ekmau. She goes by that name, Amy Ekmau, and we had about 25 minutes of the show taped, and it's on YouTube. And then we tried to do it again, and it's about 2 hours of interruptions and things like that. So I'm also going to, my co-host of the Cosmic Awakening show on n5d.com, the great website that Greg Prescott developed years ago. We are going to have her on that show at some point, we're hoping. So the technology is a little bit better with N5D, but I don't think it was from our end. I think it was an internet connection in the UK that was having trouble. So hopefully that'll be resolved. But it just seems like all these things come up, especially when you have a great guest on and somebody like Leia that's really knowledgeable. It just seems like, I could sound paranoid and say that, oh, well, it's the cabal doing it, it's the Illuminati. But I mean, I've had this happen time and time and time again, especially when it's a show that I really, really want to do, like people on there that I really think have a message to get out there, like Leia, like with Ekmau, like when myself and a couple other admins that are real close to me in the Pleiadians group, Jane Hermstad and Jason Wilson, when we've done shows together before. Interruption after interruption after interruption. Not only that, but the strangest connection issues with each of us, and it really throws they try to throw a damper into it and throw roadblocks in our way that would have gotten us to just give up a long time ago, but we keep fighting through it and it works out. Of course, that being said, I understand that everybody does have some 3D time obligations, so I wouldn't feel bad, and you shouldn't feel bad if you have to leave and go and go take care of business. But this broadcast will be available after it's over with. It'll be available on YouTube and Google at Pleiadian Express Productions, as well as I will definitely blast it all over Facebook to close to 100 groups, probably, maybe a little more, maybe as many as 150. We'll have to see, but this recording will be there, and I think that what Leia's already touched on already is really great, and I think it's a good thing. So we'll just kind of hang in there. I'm going to mute my microphone and space out and send much loving energy to Leia, and hopefully it'll lure her back into the room. Yeah, somebody mentioned that they were going to listen to some music. Does anybody have any exciting music that they could pipe in? I do, but I don't want to mess with. I've got the control panel on my side for this chat, and if I go and try to go to YouTube and put something in here, it may completely throw the broadcast off air. So if anybody's got any nice elevator music that they would like to play, you know, something like that. Nothing. Try to keep it mood appropriate if you want to, though. Like for this setting, no Megadeth or Metallica. I'm just saying.
This challenge has been cool because it's actually made us notice things about our dogs.
Doing the challenge with them, you can see like how much diet really does make your dog's life better.
Her coat's been really shiny. So grown up. So ready to take on the world. I thought I was finished raising my baby. Turns out, I'm starting all over. Take us to nowhere, someplace better than where you've been. A coffee machine that needs some fixing. In a little cafe just around the way.
Leia, you're back. Hello? I see that Leia is in the group right now. I see her icon up there. My computer froze for a second. Are you there? Is anybody there? Hello, hello. Is there anybody out there?
This is Leia here again. Anybody out there? Larry,
Yes.
is it you?
Yes, it's me. It is I. Says me. Yes, it is. Good. Well, okay. Commence letting the consciousness flow. Okay.
Yeah. You know, I'm used to that, and I don't know what you received, but the latest transmission I tried to do seems to be most important. And as I said, I'm used to it. That right at that moment the connection is cut. And now I could repeat it and transmit it, or I could write it down and post it on the internet. As you wish. How should we go on, Larry?
My vote is for you to repeat it. I don't know how everybody else feels in the room, but my vote is for you to repeat that and try to get it out before we get cut off again. So I think you should go with that.
Yes. Now, what could you receive? What until which transmission did you receive me? What was the last thing you received from me?
The last thing, honestly, that I remember you talking about, we were going into, I had asked you that question about what civilization that the White Ebis may come from, and then we talked about, you know, you mentioned, you know, that it could be Sirius B, but that basically what you said in a roundabout, more articulate way is that it wasn't boxed in, though, to a certain star system, that you really didn't like crediting one star system because it limits it to that particular thought, but that if somebody really wanted to know, it was Sirius B, and I basically chimed in with, yeah, that's a good 3D answer. So if there was something that came about after that, I'm not sure, and I can't really remember, to be honest, what it was that you had said afterward. If somebody else knows, maybe they could.
This is most yes. Okay.
Somebody just said,
most interesting.
Somebody said angels and ETs. You were talking about angels and ETs was the last thing they heard. So.
Angels and ETs are the same, which is true. Now, give me a few seconds to tune in the transmission again, and I'm very, very curious if we'll finish it this time.
Okay.
So, as we received some calls that it won't be that easy, as it was told before, to reach the highest joy and to follow it every day. we want you to know that we from the so-called higher realms are very aware that you go through difficult times on your planet. And of course, there may be some dark hours when the lights are dimming and understanding seems frozen. You need support. And then it would be a good moment to activate your inner transmitter. If you wish assistance by a high frequent invisible being, whether you call it Ascended Master, Angel, ET, or if you wish to be connected with the lightful source herself, then you have to address it correctly. Let me ask, do you follow me? Larry, can you hear me?
I can. I heard you say, "Do you follow?" and then you got cut off. What was the question?
I just wanted to make sure that I'm online.
You are online. You
Now,
are on air.
I'm
you
going
are
on.
good to go for the time being.
Now, if you wish such contact to a being of the higher realms, you have to address it correctly, and this is most important because every being has a name which represents his or her very frequency. And only if you call the true name, the real name, you will reach the real being. As if you write a letter and put the right or the wrong address on it. If you call a falsified name, you would contact or even create a so-called elemental, which is an unhappy being longing for being released. You have to know that such beings are not voluntarily here, but forced to come over and over again by repeated and collected invocations. This is what often happens at your churches. And yes, you may call it black magic, it's true. For instance, there is no such thing like Archangel Metatron. The real name is, and furthermore, there is no Jesus Sananda. He was not Roman, and so his real name is Yeshua. Metatron and Yeshua are the most called ones, and the ones where most people fail with reaching them. And if, however, go deep into the center of your heart, where transmitter and receiver to the higher realms are anchored, and if you whisper or imagine the true name of a lightful being you love, then be sure you'll get an answer. Maybe the first answer would be only a very tiny yes. And in this moment, you found and activated your personal transmitter to us.
Okay, I think Leia is having technical issues again. So I do have something to play while she is not with us. Actually, I've got to find it real quick. So hopefully in the minute it takes me to play this, she'll be back. Wow. I guess we're having internet connections problems all over the world. It just, I would like to ask anybody else if they're in the room. I know that Denmark is having some really shoddy issues with the internet. I know that the UK, as per a couple interviews I tried to do yesterday, is having some shoddy problems. Sounds like Germany having some issues. I'm just wondering if anybody else in here is in Europe and if the internet connections have been real funky over there. I mean, I know they always are no matter where you are, but it just seems crazy. It seems like more than just a technical glitch. It seems like, I don't know, it seems like something's being done to our internet, and I don't know if I'm being paranoid or what, but too many circumstances are starting to add up.
In the late 19th century, the weather was reportedly conscious, and the museum based on a mention of sea connected like of arrows, page number of them initiated that he later attached he was worthless. He was this was his